The haunted mind, the terrifying truth about schizophrenia shenshi isn't just a mental illness, it's a slow unraveling of everything we understand to be real. It's a psychological horror story unfolding in broad daylight, a living nightmare that traps its victims in a world no one else can see, feel, or hear. While most people go about their lives grounded in shared reality, the schizophrenic mind is drifting, fractured, distorted, terrifying. And what's worse than the disease itself is what society has done to those who suffer from it. At its core, schizophrenia is a brain disorder that corrupts a person's thoughts, emotions, and sense of reality. It typically begins in early adulthood, when the mind should be forming lasting relationships, careers, and dreams. Instead, for the schizophrenic, everything starts to decay. The earliest signs are subtle confusion, paranoia, difficulty connecting with others. But then the true horror begins: hallucinations and delusions. A schizophrenic hears voices whispering secrets, shouting insults, commanding them to do things. These voices aren't faint, they're vivid, terrifying, and relentless. Often, they are cruel, violent, or persuasive. Then come the delusions, deeply held beliefs that are false but feel absolutely real. Some believe the government is tracking their thoughts. Others are convinced their loved ones have been replaced by imposters. Many think they are the chosen one, a prophet, or even God. And yet others are convinced that everyone around them is plotting to kill them. You can't convince them otherwise because their brain is at war with itself. Now imagine trying to work a job, maintain friendships, or raise a family while your own mind is screaming lies at you. For centuries, schizophrenia was misunderstood in the most brutal ways. Before the condition even had a name, people who suffered from it were labeled as possessed, evil, or cursed. In the Middle Ages, those who hallucinated were often tortured or executed, burned as witches, exorcised by priests, or imprisoned by fearful communities. By the 18th and 19th centuries, so-called asylums were built, but these were not places of healing. They were nightmare factories. The walls of these institutions echoed with screams, sobbing, and silence. Patients were restrained with chains, confined in dark cells, and left to rot. Many were treated like animals, subjected to horrifying cures like freezing baths, forced vomiting, or electroshock. And then came the lobotomy, a medical horror straight from a mad scientist's notebook. Doctors believed that by severing the connections in the brain's frontal lobe, they could calm schizophrenic patients. So, they drove ice picks through eye sockets and scrambled their minds. The result? Living corpses. People who could no longer think, speak, or remember who they were. Many never left these institutions. They died in silence, buried in mass graves with no names on their stones. Schizophrenia doesn't just destroy the mind, it takes everything with it. Jobs are lost when patients become unable to focus or communicate. Relationships dissolve as loved ones are pushed away by paranoia or emotional detachment. Friends vanish. Rent goes unpaid. Hygiene disappears. Before long, many are evicted or abandoned. The streets become their home, and the sidewalk becomes their asylum. Today, nearly 1/3 of the homeless population in America has schizophrenia. They wander cities covered in filth, mumbling to unseen forces. Some are angry, some terrified, some completely lost. People walk past them every day, pretending not to see. But these are the ghosts of a system that gave up on them. Those who break down too severely are sent to psychiatric hospitals. But many of these places are underfunded, overcrowded, and grim. The moment the doors close behind you, the world changes. Patients are drugged into near stupors. Some scream into the void. Others sit in silence, rocking endlessly, their eyes hollow. The floors smell of antiseptic and despair. Time loses meaning. People shuffle like shadows. You are no longer a person. You are a case file, a liability, something to be managed. And if you have no one to fight for you, no family, no advocate, you can vanish into the system for years, even decades. With few hospitals and broken mental health care, many schizophrenics are funneled into the prison system. They are arrested for trespassing, shouting in public, or minor theft crimes born from confusion and psychosis, not malice. But prison is no place for the mentally ill. Once inside, they are placed in solitary confinement, which only worsens the illness. The voices return, stronger than ever. Hallucinations intensify. The mind begins to shatter completely. Officers use force, isolation, chemical sedation. But what they can't do is heal. Many leave prison far more broken than they entered. Some never leave at all. While most people with schizophrenia are not violent, untreated psychosis can sometimes lead to unthinkable acts. Here are just a few chilling examples. Andrea Yates 2001, a mother of 5, suffering from schizophrenia and postpartum psychosis. She believed the devil was trying to corrupt her children. One morning, she drowned them all in the bathtub to save their souls. She wasn't evil. She was horrifically ill. Edward Charles Alloway 1976, convinced his university was producing pornographic films, he walked onto campus with a rifle and murdered 7 people. In his mind, he was protecting morality. Jared Launer 2011, diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, he believed the government was manipulating language and controlling thoughts. He opened fire at a political rally, killing 6 and injuring Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. These acts are not the norm, but they reveal the horrifying potential of delusion without treatment. When reality is warped, violence can seem like salvation. Antipsychotic medications can help dulling the voices, quieting the paranoia, restoring a sense of clarity. Taking them, then the cycle repeats. Breakdown, hospitalization, release, breakdown again, over and over. Each time, a piece of their mind is lost. For many, the pain becomes unbearable. The voices won't stop. The fear never goes away. They feel hunted by the government, by demons, by themselves. Some try to silence it all the only way they know how. Suicide among people with schizophrenia is tragically high. Some slash their wrists. Others leap from buildings. Others simply walk into traffic or into the wilderness and vanish. No note, no goodbye. They don't want to die, they just want the nightmare to stop. Every schizophrenic was once a child, a teen, a dreamer. They had lives, plans, laughter. They weren't born broken. Something in their brain changed and it swallowed them whole. The hallucinations came quietly. The paranoia crept in slowly. Reality slipped through their fingers like smoke. And by the time anyone noticed, they were already gone. Now they live in halfway houses, locked wards, prisons, or on the street. They are forgotten, unloved, erased, and no one talks about them. This illness is a thief. It steals thought, identity, reality, and eventually, life. But the greater horror, society turned its back on the schizophrenic long ago. We laugh at them, cross the street to avoid them. We call them crazy, dangerous, worthless. But they are human beings, lost in a nightmare, trapped in a mind that lies. And unless we listen, unless we help, they will keep dying in silence. That's what makes schizophrenia truly terrifying. It's real, it's relentless, and it's happening all around us. Thanks for diving into the shadows with me, you curious, twisted, and beautifully eerie souls. My name is Penny Flick with Kreep-ish. Share your thoughts below. We're just scratching the surface of true crime, history's mysteries, and all things hauntingly fascinating. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and always remember, the truth is stranger than fiction.